Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. Subscribe to the channel. We're going to get started after this song here. Thank you.
Thanks to your home. It's all about you. You let us know that we are Israelites, and I can see over and over how we molded and guided our life. Giving thanks to your home, 'cause we can never thank thee enough. I can believe that we are His children. I never knew that He loved us so much. she was a great and mighty prophet. He set the standards for the prophet to come. A godly man, a strong and humble leader. His place and time can never be undone. Oh, give thanks to your. I said it's all about you. He let us know that we are Israelites, and I can see over and over how He molded and guided our life. Give thanks to your. 'Cause we can never thank Thee enough. I can believe that we got the children. I never knew that He loved us so much. So we will praise You, Jehovah. 'Cause there is none that is like unto Thee. So You're the one who made our lives bolder. You're the one who gave us life and the lasting legacy. And oh, give it thanks to Jehovah. He let us know that we are Israelites, and I can see over and over how He molded and guided our life. Give it thanks to You. 'Cause we can never thank Thee enough. I can believe that we got His children. I never knew that He loved us so much. Oh, she was a great and mighty prophet. He set the standard for the prophet to come. A godly man, a strong humble leader. His place and time can never be undone. Oh, give it thanks to Your. All about You. He let us know that we are Israelites, and I can see over and over how He molded and guided our life. Give thanks to Your. 'Cause we can never thank Thee enough. I can believe that we are His children. I never knew that He loved us so much. So we will praise You, Jehovah. 'Cause there is
Subscribe to the
none
channel.
like unto Thee. So You're the one who made our lives bolder. You're the one who gave us life and the lasting legacy. Oh,
I said it,
give it thanks to Your.
I said it's all about You.
He let us know that we are Israelites, and I can see over and over how You molded and guided our life. Give it thanks to Your. 'Cause we can never thank Thee enough. I can believe that we got His children. I never knew that He loved us so much. Give it thanks.
Oh yeah.
Give it thanks.
Shalom, shalom.
I thank You enough.
Give it thanks.
Father, I pray to Thee.
Give it thanks.
Father, I cry to Thee.
Give it thanks.
Jehovah, thank You, Jehovah.
Give it thanks.
Jehovah, thank You, Jehovah.
Give it thanks.
Father, I pray to Thee.
Give it thanks.
Father, I cry to Thee.
Shalom, Yisrael.
You, Jehovah,
Subscribe to the channel, comment, like, share.
I pray
We're going to get started after this song here. Thank you.
Father, I cry to Thee.
Give it thanks.
Thanks to Jehovah. Yeah. Thanks to Jehovah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks to Jehovah.
Thanks.
Jehovah.
Give it thanks.
Jehovah. Your love is in our hands.
They do. Shalom, shalom. How's everybody doing? Hoping and praying everybody is well and will be better. If I can be heard well and people in good spirits, please type in the number 4. All right? We want to get into this matter and into this presentation, if we will, brothers and sisters. All right? And we are on the platforms, Mordeh Yeshaya, Torah Lessons, Mordeh Yeshaya History Lessons, and the Facebook profile, Yeshaya Orthodanites. All right? So, call this one here. Thank you for that, my friend. It's all good for typing that in. We call this one here, David and Abigail Speak. Let's first understand that David in Hebrew, as pointed out before, brothers and sisters, means beloved. All right? Let's understand that in that particular case. Abigail, said quickly in English as Abigail, but Abigail means joy of my father. And this is what we want to get into in this particular case, because they were speaking one to another, not disrespectfully, not offensive, or anything of that kind of nature, if we will. All right? So let us, brothers and sisters, if we will, I'm going to shut down the camera matter. I only do it a little bit because people say, we like to see who's speaking with us. Okay, not a problem. All right, so I want to pull up the PowerPoint, if we will. All right. In that case, if it can be seen and not, so let me stop the screen there, share the screen, if we will. All right, in that particular case, pull this up in this particular matter. Right, looking at it in this particular case, if we will. And now we're going to, if we will, family, pull up the PowerPoint in this and start from slideshow from the beginning. Shalom. Giving honor to the Creator. This presentation is concerning the fact that a man and a woman can speak if they have a point to make in wisdom and advancement. Now, in some kind of ideologies, you know good and well, sadly and weird as it may seem, they frown on, or they say that it is not good that a woman sing in the presence of a man. For instance, in certain places, to correct me if I'm wrong, in like Afghanistan, a woman is not allowed to sing in the presence of a man. In Judaism, when you read inside of their matter of the Talmudic stuff, a woman should not sing in the presence of a man. And their reasoning is because it may cause the man to be aroused. Well, I want to say this. That's not her problem. If the man is that weak that he would, quote, get aroused from her singing. If a woman is singing to the Most High, there's nothing wrong with that. In the scriptures, when King Saul was assassinated, David said, sing, ye daughters of Israel, and salute your king who clothed you with scarlet. Miriam, prior to that, in Exodus, sang in the presence of men. So we can understand that the said Old Testament and what it's endorsing and what some religions endorse is not the same thing, brothers and sisters. So these are things we care to point out for reference purposes. Again, giving honor to the Creator. Thank you for joining us. I had my friend make up this flyer or meme, if you will, and I got the pictures from the internet. King David, the rise of a warrior king. And David said to Abigail, and Abigail said unto David, these people not married talked respectfully. Why? Because they had something to share in wisdom and gratitude with each other. This is what, in part, we want to get into and talk about for reference purposes, if we will. Is it okay for a man and a woman to speak? What are you speaking about? brothers and sisters, regardless of the time. It says in the Apocrypha, sit not with a married woman at the wine. It says in the Apocrypha, essentially, do not console a woman when she's going through a problem or situation with her man or her spouse. That is something that they need to handle themselves. So we already have the wisdom on what not to talk about at any given time. Day, night, late, early, or so forth and so on. So what do we and what can we point out, if we will, brothers and sisters, for reference purposes? If we know good and well that the Tanakh, first in Torah, does not endorse the concept of saying that a woman cannot sing in the presence of a man, we already know as men, certainly men of Israel, we have a certain amount of decorum and, quote, self-control that some of the nations, be they Yishmael or Persian or Edom or whoever, may not have in their own decorum. To say that a woman should not sing in the presence of a man because it may do, quote, certain things to him. Again, that's not her problem if he lacks that self-control in that case. So now, what do we want to point out in this right here? Abigail was a married woman. She was married to a person named Nabal. David and his company, having in the past helped Nabal, needed help themselves, and Nabal refused to give the help. And David wanted to slay Nabal because maybe Nabal did not understand the concept of one hand washing the other with clean soap. I help you, you help me. Nabal, which in Hebrew means churlish, practically a fool in that case. That's the name he got in the scribes in the Tanakh. May have not, no disrespect intended, been his birth name, but your character is what the people are going to call you as well. So now when we look at this situation here, Nabal being a taker and not a giver will make people who are givers uncomfortable with you. It's going to cause you to maybe not go as far as David was to say there shall not be a man of the house of Nabal to urine against the wall, but rather just cutting one off. You understand? The takers got to be cut off. The people who refuse to sit there and find out how they can give, cut him or her off. Brothers and sisters, that right there is a leech, if you will. Be it taking your name and using it, taking your resources and using it, taking your time and using it, and never fill the cup up that you already poured out for him or her. The book of Psalms 23, speaking in praise of the Creator, it says, my cup runneth over. So surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. My cup runneth over. See, we can't keep operating as a person and as people with a half cup and expect everything to be the same. How can goodness and mercy follow us halfway? We got to sit there and, like Isaiah chapter 10 says, the decree is already determined. Overflowing with righteousness is the pedigree for the remnant. When you read in Isaiah chapter 20, the Most High said he's only taking a remnant. And the decree upon it in Isaiah chapter 10 says your match must be overflowing with righteousness. That's the decree right there. So don't let anybody tell you that we should be shortchanged. Don't let anybody tell you that we should sit there and get the lesser of the stick. Don't let anybody sit there and tell you that having lesser is better. So these are things, brothers and sisters, that we care to bring out for reference purposes. when you can be a person that is a giver and a person is not a giver and reciprocation, cut off time. And that is what David did with Nabal. Let's continue, family. About David and Abigail. Abigail was a wife of a man named Nabal. She advised David to not do harm to her husband on account that when David will be a big or great man, the axe to Nabal will come to follow him, David. What am I saying? The wife of Nabal was telling David, do not sit there and let Nabal and his ignorance and actions, his foolishness and actions, his churlishness and actions cause you to lose your wisdom, David. Because when you become a great person, people are going to remember what you did to Nabal. So dust it off and move on. Nabal eventually did pass away. David is noted, and this is, you can see this in the book of 1 Samuel chapter 25, where David said, blessed be Yah, the God of Israel. There's a reggae song that goes to the tune of saying, I leave them to Jah. I don't want to be no murderer. I don't know who the artist is. It slips my mind at the time. Sorry. If anybody in the chat knows who the artist is, there's a reggae song, and the theme of the song is, I don't want to be no murderer. I leave them to Jah. I leave them to the Most High. You understand? David, if he would have sat there and not even take the counsel of Abigail, that would have been murder. Just because somebody didn't want to sit there and help you is not cause for you to shed that man's blood and put him to death. That's not a reason for that. So David, no disrespect to him, being angry, hot-tempered at that particular moment, we're all human, had to sit back and cool and remember there's a light at the end of the tunnel. There's something great beyond this particular matter. Nabal was tunnel vision. He did not see that. Nabal did not see the light at the end of the tunnel. He just saw me right now and forget everything else. And sadly, Nabal wound up being named in the Tanakh churlish and foolish. Again, that may have not been his name by birth, because that's what Nabal in Hebrew means. One that is unwise. You understand? David took the advice of Abigail. When Nabal did pass away, David married Abigail and had a son, Kiliab. So now, brothers and sisters, this is Solomon's brother that we're talking about. David had different children from different women who were his wives. You understand? And in it, correct me if I'm wrong, there's only one of the wives that David had that he and her didn't work out to their death. You understand? So when we can see things like the Most High saying David is a man after my own heart, not after my Yeshaya, but after the Most High's heart, look at some of the things that Dawid or David would have done. Kindness. Let me give you an example of that. The king of Ammon got sick and became well. And David wanted to help out the family of the king of the Ammonites, even though the Israelites and the Ammonites were not always best friends. It's called maybe king's honor. It's called having mercy. It's called, in certain many ways, not bearing a grudge. It's called letting things go and letting the better prevail, if you will. You understand? So now when we look at this right here, family, getting into this particular matter, know how to deal with people, use wisdom, be teachable. David was teachable. It was, you can't come to me, and it was not, you a woman, you need to stay in your place and just be quiet. That's not the spirit that David was coming with. You understand? Again, what we're talking about can be found in the scriptures in the book of 1 Samuel chapter 25. Let's continue, family. Let us explain. Men and women speaking. Quite often in Israel, it is stated that women, certainly married women, should not speak to a man almost under any circumstance. When I say almost under any circumstance, I'm not trying to be funny, because brothers, when our ladies go to the jobs and have a male supervisor or a male employer or a male manager, she answers to another man. She talks to another man, but it's in a professional kind of setting. So now in Israel, no disrespect intended, when it's, you know what, ain't nobody better talk to my women whatsoever, better not even sit there and say shalom to my lady whatsoever. But meanwhile, while in captivity, while in exile, many of our ladies punch the clock, maybe have their own cubicle. Hate to have to say it, might get the coffee for, quote, the boss. But once it comes down to brothers in the house of Israel in exile or captivity, it's you better not sit there and ever say shalom in that particular case. Tell Japhet or Esau, whoever you call this, you know who, man, tell him that. Don't tell the brother who sat there and came respectfully, you better not say nothing to my lady. Tell the man who sits there and your lady works under, no pun intended, sit there and tell him that while in exile. Again, this is no disrespect intended or offense promoted. We see Hannah, or Hannah, which means grace, the wife of Elkanah, or Elkanah, meaning the Most High has possessed, speaking to Eli, or Eli, meaning concerning me or about me, a priest, in 1 Samuel chapter 1. So what can we gather here? Hannah, the wife of Elkanah, spoke to Eli the priest. Eli, no disrespect intended, thought that she was intoxicated, but she wasn't. And Hannah said, take me not as a woman that has no understanding. So now when we go into the Apocrypha, and it says a drunken woman and a gather abroad causes great shame. What man wants to be around his lady in the public with her being intoxicated? That is embarrassing. That is what Eli the priest thought that Hannah was. And she said, don't think that of me. She didn't come nasty as some might think. Don't even come at me like that. No. Maybe no disrespect intended. There were women getting nice and tipsy and drunk in those days and times and being seen as such. Because when you read no disrespect intended sometime later in Isaiah, when it said the drunkards of Ephraim in Isaiah chapter 9 and Isaiah chapter 10, when it said the drunkards of Ephraim, we're probably not only talking about males. If the daughters of Lot made him intoxicated, that means they knew how to intoxicate someone. So what is to stop females to becoming, in certain cases, intoxicated? So now Hannah in 1 Samuel chapter 1 is saying to the priest Eli, not me. You can't count me as one of those kind of ladies. I don't get down like that. I'm not bringing shame on the house of Elkanah. Now, mind you, for those who do know, Hannah wound up becoming the mother of the prophet Samuel. She was at odds with her sister wife, Peninnah. Or should I say, her sister wife, Peninnah, was at odds with her. I gave the husband babies and you didn't. But Hannah did not sit there when, after giving birth to who became the prophet, who anointed Saul and who anointed David, Hannah didn't throw it in scriptures in Peninnah's face. Ha ha, my child better than yours. That kind of chicken head, catty, disrespect stuff is not what Hannah was about. And this is the woman that went to go and seek the Most High. You see the character between Hannah and that manner and some other kind of character? Now, if a man is not allowed to speak to a married woman under any circumstance, how was Eli able to speak to Hannah in 1 Samuel chapter 1? Question. We see the women of Judah speaking to Jeremiah. Jeremiah 44. Brothers and sisters. Now, that was not the most nice conversation. It was an argument. But the women were speaking to Jeremiah. What they were saying was ridiculous about worshiping the Queen Mother of Heaven and all that kind of stuff. You understand? But we're going to kind of talk about that as we go into the book of Exodus. The deity of worshiping the female and then of people worshiping the male, if you will. You understand? We're not talking sexuality, but just the concept of male and female gods, if you will. We'll talk about that when we get into the matter, say, of the golden calf. But now, looking back at this, right, the women of Judah were speaking to Jeremiah. Jeremiah did not, no disrespect intended, have a wife. So now when Jeremiah spoke back to the women, was he wrong? These women Jeremiah was speaking to were married. In Jeremiah 44, let's continue. We see the wife of Manoah speaking with the angel. The wife of Manoah became the mother of the judge Samson. Did you know that Samson, the one who was the strongest one in the Tanakh and in the world, brothers and sisters, was of the tribe of Dan, the tribe I claim, okay. And when his mother went to deal with something in the field, she was met by the angel without her husband being there. And this is not to sit there and say that the angel was on it like, you know, hey, yo, sweetheart, what's good, boo? What's good? It wasn't like that. He was telling her something that was good, not asking her what is good. So this depends on whether it's late, early, day, night, Shabbat, or any other time. What are you talking about? We already went over and mentioned that is the Apocrypha saying, sit not at the wine with a married woman. That you don't do at any given time. You understand? Maybe that's what Eli thought, like, no, we can't even be speaking of you must be intoxicated, Hannah. And she's like, no, it's not like that. We already know thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. So what are you talking about with, say, a married woman? We already pointed out things in the scriptures where these kind of situations happen depending upon the situation. The woman in Proverbs 31 is married and she considers a field and buys it. That means there is a transaction of business. If her husband is known, brothers and sisters, among the elders, right? And the woman in Proverbs 31 is considering the field and buying it, she has to do some kind of transaction in business. That means she has to speak. She may have to speak to men that are not her husband. But meanwhile, her husband is either working, and this is something I want to point out on the internet world. Oh, you always see black women with their children by themselves. How do you know her husband, the father of the child, is not the one taking a picture? We automatically assume she must be just single and just can't, quote, keep a man. But he could be the person taking a picture that you see right there. So let's give our people some kind of clout, if you will, some kind of recognition, if you will. You understand? So these are things, brothers and sisters, that we care to sit there and bring out for reference purposes. Screenshots are welcome. Let's continue, family. Now, let's get into this, if we will. Who comes first in a man's life? Wife, mom, baby mama, daughter. We spoke about this before, but there's something we care to bring out from Danitepublications. People will go, and no disrespect intended, well, it ain't baby mama, and I don't know who made this meme to try to make, quote, the baby mama look like that. But then people will try to go biblical or go into the scriptures, if you will. But nobody is perfect. If you were doing this, what the scripture says, you and a lady and her man, there would have never been a baby's mother, because it would have been wife before the woman who is then wife becomes mother. She has to be biblically a wife before she becomes a mother. And now, while not getting too personal, while I spent more time with the immediate family and reaching out and everything, some of the things that some of the members have told me are quite wild. Well, that's tradition, to sit there and, and be married, but that's tradition. And some of these sisters come from men and women who are married, but you okay endorsing not that to be the case, when the Creator already stated it is not good for man to be alone. So what are we pointing out in this particular case right here? It is not, in one case, just tradition that a man and a woman be married. The whoredom culture shared by us as males and females has become so acceptable to where we think marriage is just a tradition. You got divorce court. Not saying that divorces don't happen, but you got divorce court instead of marriage court. Such and such bridal shop is not popping off as it used to. Weddings are not as popular. And it's not to be disrespectful. I've seen more Israelite funerals growing up than weddings. Being raised in this understanding since I was a child, I've seen more Israelite funerals than weddings. But we keep on multiplying, brothers and sisters. So we want to endorse and promote marriage. There's nothing wrong with it. Now, to marry in Hebrew, we're going to get into this a little deeper as time goes on. But to marry in Hebrew, the verb is the word nasa. It's the same word meaning to carry. It's the same word meaning to take. And it's the root where you get the word nasi. Nasi means prince. So an Israelite thought a man that is married is equated to royalty. These are things that we care to bring out. That's no disrespect intended. Some of my relatives don't understand. That's just tradition. It's not just tradition that we should do things like kings and princes and queens and princesses. That shows we have raised the bar. We've dropped the bar, if anything, brothers and sisters. A friend of mine pointed out to me earlier that, and not to be sad today or any day, we've sunk past the level where we were in the 1860s. Marriage was there. The guy, forgot his name, I did a video about it, that was running for the office with Trump, he made a statement, but he probably used the wrong timing and wording. He said that the black community was more together and better in Jim Crow era. The timing he's talking about, yes. The terminology Jim Crow, no. He's talking about the timing, say from the 1920s, 30s, 40s, and 50s and 60s when the family structure was together. And that is a fact. Jim Crow did go on, yes. But brothers and sisters, when, as pointed out, the riots in the 60s stopped and the drugs came in, she needing a place, the man was moved out the house. He now becomes comfortable with it. And so what we have to do, family, is change that dynamic. We have to change that dynamic. This is what we're talking about in the scriptures. When we go say in the book of Ezekiel chapter 20, Ezekiel chapter 20 is where it says, walk not in the ways of your fathers. It never says to dishonor them. It's saying the things that your immediate ancestors may have done, don't do that. Learn from their mistakes. So now when we bring it back to who comes first in a man's life, which is the question only asked by people who lost family structure, no disrespect intended, it says in Genesis, a man shall leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife and be one flesh. Now here's my question to the people who say that the woman, the wife, is first in a man's life. Biblically, if we will, right? Here's my question. If the man and a woman are one flesh, how can the husband, the man, put the wife first? Let's do it a different way. No disrespect intended. Im ha'ish wagam et ha'isha. Im hekyu basar echad. Eku yakol lasim et ha'isha berashona. What am I asking in any language? If the man and the woman, if they became im ha'ish ha'isha, im hekyu, if they became basar echad, one flesh, Ekhu Yakol, how can he lasim et ha'isha berashona? How can he put the woman first? If they're one flesh, it means they're first. I'm gonna take an intermission and come back about that. Be right back, family. Thank you for that.
Baruch Hashem, Shel Yahuwah. Baruch Hashem, Shel Yahuwah. Baruch Hashem, Shel Yahuwah. Baruch Hashem, Shel Yahuwah.
morning.
Wake up in the morning.
I got to praise his name.
I got to praise his name.
When I wake up in the morning.
Yes, I wake up in the morning.
I teach my kids to do the same.
Oh,
Shalom,
yes,
shalom.
I do.
We're going to continue after this song. Thank you, family.
So great. I got to praise his name. I just can't wait. Jehovah is king. Jehovah is king of heaven and earth.
Yeah, now only a remnant shall return to the land on Judgment Day.
Shalom. Thank you for joining on.
Will stand. There will come a time when all nations will say with their mouth, Jehovah is God, Jehovah is God of heaven and earth. Yeah, Baruch Hashem.
Shalom, family. Let's continue. We hope and pray that everybody is well and will be better. Brothers and sisters, we try to, on this platform, give out what they may consider good vibes or positive vibrations, if you will. And this is why, and I say this in no disrespect, there's a Hebrew book out there that I would not personally recommend. It's a college Hebrew book. It's called Higher Soul. And the reason why, and the meaning of Higher Soul essentially means foundation. The reason why I wouldn't recommend it is because the stuff in there is sad. You know, who got hurt, who's sick, who had problems. I rather, if we can, teach the word rapa, to heal, before we go into the word kala, meaning to be sick. The word kazak, to be strong, before the word kalash, which means to be weak. It does exist. You understand? But I'm not trying to be philosophical or quote deep, but bring forth positive energy, if you will. Debarim Yafim, if you will. Nice things. What did Jacob say of Naphtali? He gives goodly words. Milim Safer. Safer meaning beautiful. You understand? And so these are things that we want to point out for reference purposes. But here's a question that a brother was asking, if we will. Right? If a man and woman are one flesh, how can he put the wife first? Is the question. Because many times when people, brothers and sisters, see this right here, if we will, right? If we will, see if it comes up on the screen. And I don't see it come up on the screen. So let me, family, do this. Stop screen. Share screen. Go here. Do this. Go here. Right? And so forth in that particular case. But here's the question, if we will, because I'm able to see it on my screen. If I can be heard well and people see it on the screen, let me know. Type in the number 4. If the man and woman are one flesh, how can he put the wife first? Wouldn't, if they are one flesh, they put themselves first as what we call today a power couple, a power team? Maybe he doesn't see himself as one flesh with his wife. Maybe she, being a wife, don't see herself as one flesh with the husband. So one is okay being put in front of the other. You understand? Don't have the 2 and 3 year plus plan with him or her in mind. They got a whole other mindset and agenda that does not include his or her spouse. Watch out and be careful of that. Take heed to thyself is what Deuteronomy tells us. So if it says take heed to thyself and you see yourself in a relationship that you're not in the 2 and 3 year span of futuristic ideas, you got to do self at that point, because he or she, depending upon your gender, is not trying to do for you. So now when we can even ask such a no disrespect intended silly question about who comes first in a man's life, anybody saying the wife comes first is not understanding about the man and the wife being one flesh. Because if you're one flesh, if you one and have peace and love and mind and heart, which is why some say you should not get a prenup agreement, because it's already coming in love, then we are one flesh, right? Then let's not even sit there and entertain you coming before my child, you coming before mommy, you coming before daddy, you coming before anyone else. And if it is a situation where there is an ex who happens to be, for the lack of a term, the baby's mother or the baby mama, y'all still sisters. Y'all got to get along as a people, even if him and a wife don't get along. Even the second wife, if you will. If she has a baby daddy, you brother and him are still brothers by nationality and people. Y'all still got to get along as brothers. So again, we are the only people who will sit there and think to actually put a spouse over other people. Meanwhile, we're all supposed to be one people. Who is in competition one with another except us? Foolish people. People who tear down their own household, their own structure. People who do not understand that it takes to build all hands on deck. So this should never. Thank you for that, my brother Saliyah. And thank you for that, my brother It's All Good, for typing in the number 4. So it should never be a competition between who comes first. Brothers and sisters, knowing good and well that we are all supposed to, and not trying to be funny, respect our elders. Honor your father and your mother. That does not change. Now, when we read a man shall leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife, yes, you're weaned. Get off your mommy's milk. Join on. Branch out. It doesn't mean you ever dishonor. Give them the honor to give them the peace. Take some wisdom. Don't go to them with your problems, because you're not going to be 100 with it, because this is mommy and daddy. So be it her parents or his parents, they're not going to sit there and be 100 about it. So maybe the mother and father should not be the advisors in their children's relationships that are already established, because they're not going to tell their mother or their father everything. They're going to leave things out on the strength of who mother and father is. So just throwing that out there, or putting it out there, if you will. Honor thy father and thy mother. That doesn't stop because you become married. Everyone shall revere his mother and his father. May he rest in peace. Chief Naphtali pointed out. Exodus says father, mother. Leviticus says mother, father, because you can't sit there and play one against the other. They hold the same rank and file, brothers and sisters. It's not that the mother has less power over the children than the father, or the father has less power over the children than the mother. That's the Willie Lynch concept. That is the concept taught to us in slavery. While they taught us what we're reading from, it's called the old book. You understand? So looking back at this, if it says a man shall leave his father and mother, that's the question I'm asking. How can the wife be put first, or according to some looking at that meme, if the man and the woman are one flesh? That means the wife is not for the team. That means the husband is not for the team. Because we a power couple. So we put us first. Not I'll put her before mommy. I'll put her before my daughter. I'll put her before my son. I'll put her before everybody else on earth. No. says the Most High. You shall not have any other gods before me. That is the one. He, the Most High, is the one that you put before anyone or anybody else. You don't make a god out of your husband's sisters. You don't make a goddess out of your wife brothers. And if your mother and father have wisdom, they're going to want their son or daughter to be with someone and be fruitful and multiply and not hover over them. Can't nobody be with my baby. How you going to get grandchildren from that line? There are certain things that as your daughter becomes older, she's going to need from a man that you as the father cannot do. It is inappropriate perhaps to be giving a massage to your 27, 37-year-old daughter. She needs a man. You understand, in that particular case. So these are things pointed out for reference purposes, if we will. So family, when you find, as not to be funny, one has seen, I do things with my son and I do things with my son, you might be blocking his progress from getting a lady because you don't have a man. And I've seen it to where fathers have hovered over their daughters to where she done became an old maid and don't have no children. Is not married. Can't nobody be with my... Listen, the Apocrypha teaches us, marry your daughter, in other words, cause her to be married, but give her to a man of understanding. If the Most High, the Father, gave Eve to Adam, there's an order already established. So to the relatives talking the traditional way, you're trying to, unbeknownst to you maybe, or you're doing unbeknownst to you maybe, cutting out the will of the Most High. And you don't want that kind of relationship. Ain't no blessing coming in that one. You understand? The Most High spoke upon Zakar un Kweba, male and female. When society can tell you, and I hate to have to say it, no disrespect intended, it's in my family too, women with women and men with men, that's obtuse. That's not what the Most High established. You understand? The amount of men that endorsed or endorse, quote, women and women, and the amount of women that sit there and said they okay with, quote, man and man is ridiculous. He wants to be you. She wants to be you, brother. That's not normal. So looking at it in that particular way, bringing it back to this, not getting too way far left or whatever like that, right? Who comes first in a man's life? It is impossible to be a power couple and to put the wife first, because that means that you're not putting yourself as a couple first. If the servant shall say, I love my master, my wife, my children, I will not go out free. Exodus 21. And Jacob loved Rachel. And Jacob loved Rachel, and he said, I will serve thee 7 years for Rachel, thy younger daughter. So what can we point out here, family? Let's look at this. Laser pointer. Vayehab Yaakov et Rachel, vayomer ebadka sheba shanim, but Rachel bitka haktana. Jacob was specific. I will serve you for Rachel, your younger daughter. We know, for those who do know what happened, Jacob became intoxicated. Someone else was put in the room, like, wake up, like, oh boy, oh wow, this is not what I expected. Laban was a swindler. Now, people, no disrespect intended, not to get sidetracked, who try to say that Jacob just stole Esau's blessing, which we went over in the past. He did not steal Jacob's Jacob did not steal Esau's blessing. Esau sold his birthright because he didn't care about it. Who gets the birthright gets the blessing. Esau didn't see long vision. He saw, right now, I am, quote, hungry, which you already being a man of the field. You could have went inside and got something to eat. but you didn't think about your future generations, Esau. It was just me right now and forget anything else. That right there is the character Israel is not supposed to have. You understand? Edom is called that because of the red pottage. He's known as a particular color, not maybe in complexion per se, but because of the red pottage that he was into. You understand? And Yisrael is futuristic. It's a verb. Whereas just being known as a color or an adjective, like Edom being a red, Yisrael is a futuristic matter. That yeah sound. Y sound in the beginning, and Yisrael is futuristic. When you go on the channel, Mora Yeshaya Torah Lessons, there is a video speaking upon that called the etymology of Yisrael. All right, getting into that in that particular case. If Jacob is saying that he loves Rachel, why are the Israelites talking about, does it say in the book that he has to love his wife? I don't read that. I read where the servant says, I love my wife. I read where the patriarch Jacob said he loves Rachel. So there's nothing wrong with love. Stop having a hardened heart. Stop being all so mean and so quote unquote tough to where, like it says in the Apocrypha, be not a lion in your house, for such shall inherit the wind. Think about that, say, even if you want to go say to a job matter. If the manager's, I'm a manager, I'm a manager, I'm the manager, nobody wants that position but you, perhaps. You can hold that. See? You don't have to keep on saying it. If you do what you do, people will speak about you. But there are those who are going to hate, and there are those like Jacob who's going to love. So take heed to your friends and separate from your enemies like we went over before. Subscribe. Presentation tomorrow, January 25th, on the platforms Mora Yeshaya Torah Lessons, Mora Yeshaya History Lessons, and the Facebook profile Yeshaya Author Danite. We can be reached at 908-587-4841. Join Mora Yeshaya as he speaks on the matter of the Israelites in Egypt from the historical and biblical perspective. January 25th, 908-587-4841. The picture you see in the background is a picture of Egyptians and Nubians who were Hamitic nations. You see how they look. Picture you see on the lower left-hand side, brothers and sisters, it shows here Amu, top, Asiatics. All right? Asiatics in Egypt. We're going to talk about that, Creator willing, tomorrow in the morning time, afternoon time portion. What you're seeing right there in the middle picture is a picture of a person from Punt, or they say Libya. Some people say the Libyan people come from Put. Some people say the Somalian people come from Put. Maybe both. Who knows? Let's delve into that as time goes on. All right? And what you're seeing here on the far right side on the bottom is the tennis Hyksos, which, given a hint, were the Amalekites that Israel fought in Rephidim. So Israel was not in hold the Hyksos, but fought against the Hyksos. And we're going to talk about that in history. So brothers and sisters, and giving honor and praise unto the Most High, the Creator, the Maker of heaven and earth, we hope and pray that everybody is well and will be better. We're going to close out now. I'll ask the same question as before. And here, in this particular case, play a song. Shalom. Thank you for the time.